Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2 from the IEM Katowice 2022 StarCraft 2 World Championships. Yes, 2 Terrans enter. 1 Terran will leave. An elimination match, a highlight. This is game 3 of the group stage to determine which player moves on. Let me introduce the GSL champion. Always underestimated, sometimes imitated, but... And just like Cure, I'd be lucky if I could come up with something clever to finish that off instead of looking like a bit of an underdog. It's the People's Terran. It's not Maru. It's Cure. Jimmy, how do you get those two mixed up? They're almost like 2 different people. Well, they are 2 different races. Yes, I could say that it's StarCraft. I don't... Anyways. But a potential nightmare for him on the other side. One of those players that always makes the rounds, but never quite makes enough of a name for himself to not be one of those proper noun players. Wow. This is off to a great start. Anyways, it's a Dream. Dream is where Cure was. He can beat anyone. Occasionally, he will beat players like Maru and Zest. But he's never the favorite. Now, against Cure... Cure doesn't stack up quite as well against Maru and TVT, but no one does. Dream, on the other hand, I haven't really seen much from. In general, and specifically TVT. But this match, I know, has drama, excitement. I don't expect to see the bleeding edge of the TVT meta, but instead, a scrappy slugfest. Because if I know anything about Cure, and if Dream is evenly matched with him, it's not so much about having pinpoint, pixel-perfect micro, but about sticking to solid macro. And TVT can demonstrate... It's probably the most dynamic mirror matchup. Zerg versus Zerg, you kind of have to almost have an agreement to get past the low-tech phases. PvP is more of a poker game, trying to figure out if the other person is cheesing, and then when you figure out they're not, they actually still are. Whereas TVT has some of the most stable openers to actually get an expansion or 2. Just because Terran units have quite a defender's advantage. Reapers slip in for Dream, delay the command center, but he loses one, and he could lose both. A bit of a greedy move there, taking the alternative entrance, and might end up... Hey, he loses both Reapers, so off to an odd start here. Delaying the command center for a few seconds, I don't think is worth losing potential map control, because the reason why TVT usually makes it to the later game is because we survive past this phase. Like, 1 Cyclone is enough to scare Cure. Okay, well, the Cyclone is almost guaranteed to get 1 kill. He doesn't know what's behind it. He's afraid to commit. I'm pretty convinced Maru would have gone for that Cyclone. Just a single Cyclone after you killed 2 Reapers? I mean, come on. But, Dream going with the most defensive posture. The Cyclones can't get too much done on the other side of the map, and he built 2 of them, which is a lot of his early gas committed to a mostly defensive unit. We'll have to see. Here comes Cure, looking for action. I don't think he'll expect the second clone. The problem, well, the door closes. He's able to shut it in its face. Locks on with 1 clone. So where does that leave us? Okay. That was about the least he could do. There is now a tank coming across in a medevac. And he is on the southern side of the map, which means that Dream's add-ons are exposed from the low ground. Cure on the receiving end of this before. We saw Maru kind of break him apart from this location not too long ago. It is a nasty position to defend, especially if you didn't open up with a tank and instead 2 Cyclones. Yes, Dream does have a tank, but he can't really get in range or have the vision right now. A reactor gonna go down. Cure making his way. Oh, there's about to be an auto turret. Oh, that, no. Oh, and that's my commentary. I guess it could have gone worse. Not much worse. But, yeah, that was pretty bad. Cure managed to lose the medevac and the tank, which, you know, of the units he had, maybe not the ones you want to be losing. He did keep some Reapers alive, and he saved 2 Marines. But, yeah, that did not pan out. I'm going to go ahead and make a confirmation here. I'm going to make a bold call and say that neither of these players are Maru. That is what makes TVT. When Maru's not involved, because Maru makes many matchups look kind of broken. When Maru's not involved, it gets a lot more dynamic, because there is this back and forth, this trade-off of both Raven energy and your key tech units, pretty much until you can get a solid army going, which, when we're having a game like this, could take a while. So, Dream.
Base is under attack.
Yes, base is under attack. Now he's going to try. Cure is 1 or 2 pixels out of vision. Both players are going to let the third CC finish of their opponent. Unfortunately, well, Dream just committing to the auto turrets here. Oh, no, that's Stim.
Denied.
Stim is taken out by auto turrets, which I didn't have on my bingo card. But some of you might have. It's not the most rare thing, but Stim not a huge deal this early on because you just simply don't have that many Marines. But any delay is incredibly annoying. The Reapers are still going, but well, SCVs are, yeah, you can already see what kind of game we're having. Remember, everything on the line. This is the World Championship. They're tied in the groups and in the series. Whoever wins this series moves on. I just like wanna bring that point home. Usually with highlight matches, they're important matches. But this is everything. This is your professional StarCraft 2 career on the line. And both these players could use another solid finish, especially Dream, but also, of course, Cure. It always feels like whenever Cure does anything, it's like, yeah, but let's see him do it again. And here we are. He's going for it. He's attacking. He has less army supply. Well, here we go. The auto turrets are vomited out onto the field. The tanks are firing. Is the target fire there? Well. A bloody battle. Blood and bolts all over the place. It looks like Cure somehow ends up with 1 more Viking. Though, no, Dream has another Viking. Alright. Somehow this kind of went evenly. It looks like Dream wants to just crush this now. Some auto Turks. Cure loses his Raven. There goes a Viking. Dream gonna chase it down. Unsiege tank on the chase. He's stutter stepping the tank. So Cure, he tries the attack. Once again, is just kind of backhanded. This time less strongly than his first tank push. But keeping his Ravens alive and his tanks, Dream definitely takes a win here. That he comes out more ahead than he was when Cure pushed. The only advantage for Cure was that it kept Dream from taking the initiative. Because Dream could have moved out, he had a little bit of a quicker +1/+1. He had air superiority. He actually lost a couple more Vikings than he really should have. They flew right into the Marines. So, a very stressful match so far for both sides. 1-1 is done. Cure has an armory, but he hasn't started 2-2. Dream just finished an armory and starts 2-2, so Kier missing the mark on the upgrades here. Feels very much on the ropes. The sensor towers are very far forward for both sides. And they're not the hardest to kill. Spotting depots, Marines, scouting and trading. The supplies continue to grow, and so does the tension. Oh, it's palpable. The scans at the exact same time for both players. Kier flirts with the idea of stimming in. Spotter depots taken out. See, it's not just a Bronze League thing, low APM challenge watchers. I told you it's a thing. Spotter depots are a legitimate and actually quite cost-effective strategy. Better than losing 3 or 4 Marines every few seconds, especially if you're a Selecto army addict. Meanwhile, Kier, Viking scouting party. He's continuing. He has 2 medevacs for his whole damn army, but he doesn't want to lose air control entirely. The Viking count is, It's like the Ravens, but also the Viking count. Are there any air upgrades? Honestly, it's kind of hard to tell. The sensor towers in the most efficient manner, covering a huge amount of the land area here. Just trying to make it slightly easier to scan, but the sensor tower Cure, not to be outdone, will build one of his own. So Dream's gonna have +2/+2, and he's gonna max out quicker. And this is the recipe for a potential victory. This is when he could go for a decisive engagement. Not quite yet, he's still like 20 seconds out. He's actually gonna lose a tank. He's only got 1 tank sieged, which is, you know, not as many as he might like. But the trade-off's happening. The Marines scouting, skirmishing. Oh, that tank. Oh, a little too close. 2-2 finishing, though. Dream really wants to work it. Cure is not far behind on the upgrades. If Dream waits more than a few seconds to go, he's not going to have that upgrade advantage, which is critical in these Marine tank fights. Starts 3-3 immediately. I think he's realizing that's not going to happen. Well, the Vikings scrambles, anti-armor missile, wants to win the air war now. Cure's Marines are entirely out of position. He'll lose half his Vikings. The tank line, though, looking good, and without any liberators to push the issue. He's reliant on Cure not scanning. Cure, he managed to scratch his way to 2-2. The tanks are still siege. Dream keeps walking in a little too close. Sensor towers. Cure actually... Where did that other command center go? Cure? He had another CC somewhere, didn't he? I don't know. It didn't get taken out. Maybe... Am I crazy? Never mind. Okay. Maybe that was the one that ended up at the 4th. I don't... Or it was taken out and either me or Cure were taken... I don't know. There's a lot happening. I'm stressed out. The players are stressed out. That's my excuse. Meanwhile, Dream... Oh no, that's a terrible positioning. Loses several tanks. Scrambles some, but the Marines stepping forward. The tanks are much more important. Somehow a bunch of Vikings... Whoa, Dream! Lost all his Ravens and Vikings. Oh, that was not good. Now running away in the medevacs. Bit of a risky business after you lost all air control. So just like that, Cure now has 8 more Vikings and 9 more tanks. Dream just threw away his entire advantage. And now he wants to give up 2 more medevacs too, which is very kind. Though, it looks like well, you shouldn't stim those Marines too many times. The medevacs have been out of energy since they came out. Yeah, Dream, he fumbled that one. He kind of felt like he had the advantage. Taking the initiative in TVT is worth a lot. If you're able to decide where the battle is, if it's on their side of the map and you take an even trade, well, if you keep doing that, you're eventually going to break their production. But when you lose all your Vikings and tanks, believe it or not, that's bad. What you want to do is not lose all your Vikings and tanks. So write that down somewhere. Cure's got it on the back of both hands. Just making sure he knows what to do. 3-3 now, finish for Dream. He's filling in high-sec auto. He got Corvid Reactor. High-sec auto tracking Neil Steel Armor on the way. Well, this is awkward. Dream is, here comes some Marines. They're gonna run right into the Liberator, which the Liberator will get about as many kills as it possibly could, but anti-armor missile across the bow. Cure has still a significant Viking advantage, though. The Liberator gonna force the tanks back. Cure trying to drive the point home. There aren't that many tanks here. The Vikings, though, between the interference matrices and the continued anti-armor missile... Well, no. More Vikings still does beat less Vikings, and Cure actually has +1 ship weapons instead of +2 mech armor. Yeah, 7-5 Vikings. Dream, not obviously not quite a mathematician here. Though if you can draw them into the Marines, maybe. He's making 6 Vikings at a time and setting up a pretty huge flank. The tank count is uncomfortably low for Dream, and Cure is starting to really leverage that now. He's stimming in. The tanks were mostly unsieged. He's going for a more tank siege from the high ground. Scrambles one. Vikings coming in from the back. The Ravens at the front. The auto turrets. The split, the stim looking good, but the tank line is so deep and so wide. And right now, Dream retakes air control, but Cure maintains the tanks here. Where's the scan? Oh my god, he missed the scan! You know! Unfortunately, that one tank is perfectly positioned, and Cure was a few pixels off on the scan. He finds it now, but Cure loses 3 tanks. Oh. The Vikings trying to get whatever they can, and neither player particularly diligent about keeping their key air units alive. The Raven counts are, oh my god, what's happening here? The Vikings in a great spot to pick out these fresh Ravens. Cure just goes, which is not really how you want to do things. Oh god, they both want it so bad, but... Oh, it's a mess out here. It's a world-class sloppy Joe extravaganza. Neither of them can quite find that fight they know they want, but so close, yet so incredibly far. The Viking count back in favor of Dream. The scrambles just to try to finally bring those tanks forward, and Dream now starting to make real progress. Cure making a Thor. Wow, the slow and steady interference matrix push. Possibly the most pragmatic move out of either player in this game, as he just rides through the tank line. The tanks, yeah. The Ravens are starting to run low on energy, but the Viking count is still high enough. Yeah, he just dismantled this. There's only a couple left. Now all you gotta do, Dream, is not lose all your Vikings when you clear up the last 2 tanks. Alright, tell yourself, don't lose all the Vikings. Or the Ravens. Just gotta make sure you cover everything. Every warning label exists for a reason. Well, here come the Vikings looking for the Thor. The only real solidly ranged ground-to-air option. That's why Cure breaking out the Thor, like, rarely seen in TVT. Maybe with a mech-based composition, but... The bases across... well, most of the bases now slowly being taken. Scans and counter scans. SCVs, even, drawn into the fray. Brother against brother. Production tab has upgrades and command centers, as you might expect. The unit count, the tank and Viking count is really what we gotta stare at. The Raven count also matters, but neither of them have been particularly diligent. Dream. He sees this entrenched position. Oh, what? Oh my god. What? We're going. Dream just sidesteps the army. Instead of using his superior Raven count to dismantle it, he's going for the base trade, which is exactly what Cure wanted. I can't... No, okay, lift! Go! Get out! Get out! Everyone out! Everyone out! All hands! Cure! Get up and get out! It's time to go! It's time to leave! Come on, Cure. Oh, well, Cure isn't lifting. He's busy killing all of Dream's buildings, including the command centers. Abandoned ship! Abandoned base! The main's gone, the natural's gone, the third's gone, but there are still a few more bases. Planetaries. Barracks being rebuilt on the map. The production tab becomes relevant again. Like turret. Wait, a turret tank line. Cure, relying on that solid macro, is sinking his minerals into... He's trying to lock Dream. You can't interference matrix turrets. Does he have high-sec auto-tracking? Cure actually doesn't. The mini-map is a total fucking disaster right now. It's impossible. Just look for the blobs. They're everywhere. Meanwhile, command centers. Oh, and Cure wins the battle. Touchdown. Starports are flying. Command centers are flying. Nerves are frayed. The armory with +3 mech weapons. I don't actually think he has any ground mech units, so not as much of a loss as it seems. I guess there's 5 tanks, but Cure has trapped Dream inside Cure's former base. I guess the tanks can move forward. There's only one medevac, the anti-armor missile. Cure is containing Dream in his base, whereas Dream is scouting what has happened. And suddenly, this game, it didn't go forward or back. It went sideways and it up, down, like several different dimensions. Like, somehow, it went everywhere but back and forth. And now Cure is retreating in general. At this point, everything's relative. The auto turrets to cover the retreat because there are no more actual turrets. Still a planetary. Cure fighting a planetary and losing Marines to it. Cure, also a bunch of his army is idle here. Well, the planetary will eventually die. Dream is still mining. There's an SCV watching them mine, which is a very surprising turn of events. He's actually dealing with the units in the middle of the map. Are we gonna stabilize? Well, Cure pulled the trigger on this instantly. Cure was excited to go for the base trade. It kind of felt like Dream just kind of slipped into it. But Cure jumped at the chance. As soon as he realized what was happening, he stemmed straight into the main. Dream, on the other hand, just kind of pulled the trigger once he was far enough along. He felt like he was too far and he couldn't go back. So, well, the planetary racking up its first... okay. Dream is supply blocked. They're both at incredibly high supplies from what we've seen happen. The main bases are gone. The rest of the bases are within siege tank distance. Even the Vikings are freaking out right now. Another planetary will be canceled before it can even finish. An engineering bay had to be rebuilt. Cure has still an uncomfortable amount of army supply that is now being contained in Dream's main, stealing one right out of the Cure playbook over there. The Ravens are everything. There's still 10 Ravens for Dream, and that is the hope. That is what's left. The 10 Ravens could be the game changer. The supplies are still even. Those Ravens have continued value. Anti-armor missile. The Viking count is in favor of Cure, and he does have slightly better ship weapons upgrades. But of course, the Ravens. It's now 2 base? I'm gonna say 2 base mining for both sides. Dream has access to 3. Anti-armor missile, though, gonna shave off a few more Vikings. They're both at uncomfortably high economies for what's happened. A lot of bruised Vikings here means Dream will be losing most of his air control. You're gonna try to break out. There's literally no air units over here. The tanks will siege. There's still enough interference matrices. The Marines stimming underneath. There's actually nothing to protect the tanks. The Ravens are dying, though. A lot of the Ravens are going down, and those cannot be easily replaced. The production of Cure is dying for a second time here. It's like StarCraft Ghost with how much production is being canceled. We got siege tanks just, around. Meanwhile, Cure gonna try to split and stim with Marines that are one step out of rehab. We got, but 2 tanks and 3 supply depots are not an incredibly great contain. Just Vikings against tanks and Marines doesn't quite cut it. Cure does he have any orbitals? Cure can no longer scan, but he does find a great angle for his tanks to besiege. The planetary still intact! The Viking count not easily replaced either. It looks like the contain was not enough, and Cure breaks out. Planetary holding. Tanks stepping forward. Both players down to about 100 supply. Cure moving forward. The Cure has no more scans. He needs to keep the Vikings alive. Meanwhile, another base forced to lift. The Ravens, whatever Ravens survive coming back. Most of whatever's left of the production. Interference matrices. Just Marines left. The tanks will be taken out, but here, Cure, the planetary, 3 tanks left. The Marines still high enough in number. He's gonna have to split and stim. The orbitals are holding. Dream actually doing a bang-up job of pulling this together. It looked like Cure was running away with it, especially after the Ravens, but suddenly Cure is kind of contained to his corner. Vikings on deck. Ravens back just in time. Boys are pulled. Everything on the line. The tanks are holding. Auto turrets helping. Marines are just enough. Cure is wiped from the field. Wiped from the World Championship after the most hectic 10 minutes of StarCraft I almost ever have seen. The People's Terran knocked out after giving us one of the most exciting moments. But Dream climbs away from the wreckage of that match. What an unmitigated disaster that was almost from the start. The highest level massacre. Chaos. I think the base trade was a mistake from Dream. But he was able to turn it around before he crashed and burned. In many cases, literally. Cure, it slips through his fingers. Losing almost everything you could. 40 tanks against 37, 56 to 39 Vikings, dozens of Ravens, however many, actually 21 to 2 turrets, an interesting stat. Oh, well, that was something. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.